Have you ever wondered how your life would be if you could control your emotions completely, no matter the pressure from your own thoughts or the stress it generates? Welcome to a journey through Stoic philosophy, an ancient school of thought that offers unbreakable serenity amidst the turbulence of modern life. Now, let us delve into the heart of Stoicism by exploring the 9 toxic habits that the Stoics avoided at all costs. These habits are traps that can ensnare us, keeping us from achieving the inner peace and resilience that Stoicism promises. By understanding and addressing these habits, we can transform our lives and develop a stronger, more tranquil mind. The first toxic habit that Stoics avoided is the inappropriate expression of negative emotions such as anger, frustration, sadness, and fear. Imagine a storm raging inside you, but instead of letting it out in destructive ways, the Stoics teach us to find calm within the chaos. For the Stoics, uncontrolled passions are irrational and go against our true nature, preventing us from being masters of ourselves. Their goal was to achieve a state known as apatheia, or emotional tranquility. This does not mean becoming an insensible hermit who represses all feelings. In fact, the Stoics understood that initial involuntary emotions are natural. What matters is how we choose to respond. For example, if you suffer the loss of a loved one, it is natural to feel deep sorrow initially. The Stoics would not say that this innate sadness is something bad or shameful. However, they advised against unnecessarily prolonging that suffering or displaying our pain to others in a way that burdens them. Consider the analogy of a burning candle. The flame represents our emotions. If we let it burn uncontrolled, it can cause destruction. But if we keep it contained, it provides light and warmth. Similarly, the Stoics believed in processing emotions rationally and privately, navigating through grief or anger with equanimity and strength. The second toxic habit is constant complaining about life's inevitable problems. How often do we find ourselves lamenting every small inconvenience, every unexpected twist in our day? The Stoics proposed a different approach, accepting these situations with equanimity as part of nature, fate, or divine will. This attitude is intimately connected with the concept of amor fati, which translates to love of fate. Imagine seeing every challenge as a gift, an opportunity for growth. Instead of cursing our fate, we should embrace it. This doesn't mean we should passively accept all misfortunes without trying to improve our situation. Instead, we focus our energy on what we can control and accept what we cannot. Complaining is a waste of this precious energy. It drags us down and distracts us from finding real solutions. Think of a tree that bends with the wind instead of breaking. The Stoics believed that by accepting and even loving our fate, we become resilient and unbreakable, no matter how strong the storms we face. The third toxic habit is arrogance and unnecessary ostentation of possessions and abilities. In today's world, where social media often encourages us to showcase our lives and achievements, this Stoic principle is particularly relevant. The Stoics were fervent promoters of humility and modesty, arguing that boasting about our material or personal achievements is not only unethical, but also reflects deep insecurity. Imagine a person constantly flaunting their wealth or talents. Does this behavior truly garner respect, or does it merely fuel envy and resentment? The Stoics believed that true worth lies in our character, virtues, and internal abilities, not in external displays of wealth or success. They taught that the wise person does not seek validation through superficial means, but finds contentment within. Consider the sun and the wind competing to remove a man's coat. The wind blew fiercely, but the man only clung to his coat tighter. The sun simply shone brighter, and the man willingly removed his coat. This fable illustrates that true strength and influence come from within, not from outward displays of power or wealth. The fourth toxic habit is the tendency to criticize and speak ill of others. In our current era of social media and constant connectivity, it is all too easy to fall into the trap of judgment and gossip. The Stoics understood how harmful words can be, deteriorating relationships and reputations unjustly. They emphasized the importance of maintaining a compassionate and benevolent attitude towards others' faults. Imagine a world where every mistake is met with understanding rather than harsh criticism. The Stoics believed in this ideal. This doesn't mean being naive or accepting all behavior without judgment. there are actions that must be condemned. However, they advocated for a clear distinction between criticizing actions and condemning the person. When we criticize someone, we should do so constructively, aiming to reform rather than punish. Public shaming and harsh judgment only serve to entrench people in their errors and create division. Instead, let us strive to guide and support others towards better behavior, recognizing that we all have our own faults and weaknesses. The fifth toxic habit is the obsessive pursuit of fame, social status, and external recognition. How often do we find ourselves seeking approval from others, wanting to be admired and respected? The Stoics understood the dangers of this mentality. They taught that constantly seeking to please others and capture their admiration is a trap that leads to insecurity and a fragile ego. Imagine running a race where the finish line keeps moving further away. This is what the pursuit of external validation feels like. No matter how much recognition we receive, it is never enough. The Stoics believed that true happiness and fulfillment come from within, from living according to our own principles and values. Instead of seeking fame or status, we should focus on becoming the best version of ourselves. Let our actions speak for us, not our need for applause. True contentment comes from knowing that we are living a life of integrity and virtue, not from the fleeting approval of others. The sixth toxic habit is anxiety and excessive fear for the future. How many of us spend our days worrying about what might happen tomorrow, next week, or next year? The Stoics believed firmly in living in the present moment and focusing on what we can control, our actions and attitudes today. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack filled with rocks everywhere you go. This is what constant worry feels like. It weighs us down and prevents us from enjoying the present moment. The Stoics taught that while it is natural to have some concern for the future, we should not let it dominate our thoughts and actions. Think of a sailor navigating a ship. He cannot control the wind or the waves, but he can control how he steers his ship. Similarly, we cannot control everything that happens in our lives, but we can control how we respond. By focusing on the present and doing our best each day, we prepare ourselves to face whatever the future may bring. The seventh toxic habit is engaging in heated arguments, trying to always be right. In our interactions with others, how often do we find ourselves defending our viewpoints vehemently, unwilling to consider alternative perspectives? The Stoics understood how counterproductive this can be. They taught that true wisdom comes from being open to different viewpoints and recognizing our own limitations. Imagine two people locked in a fierce argument, each trying to convince the other they are wrong. What is accomplished? Often, nothing but increased tension and division. The Stoics believed in the importance of dialogue and understanding. They encouraged us to listen more than we speak and to approach disagreements with humility. Consider the wise words of Epictetus: "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." By approaching conversations with a genuine desire to understand rather than to be right, we open ourselves to learning and growing, and we foster stronger, more respectful relationships. The eighth toxic habit is envy and resentment towards others' success. In our journey through life, it is easy to look at others and feel envious of their achievements, their possessions, or their status. The Stoics taught that these feelings are a dangerous distraction from our true purpose, personal improvement and the pursuit of virtue. Imagine being on a path to the top of a mountain. If we keep looking at others' progress instead of focusing on our own steps, we are more likely to stumble and fall. The Stoics believed that we should celebrate others' successes and use them as inspiration rather than allowing envy to cloud our judgment. Think of a garden. Each plant grows at its own pace, and each flower blooms in its own time. Similarly, we all have our unique paths and challenges. By focusing on our own growth and development, we can achieve our fullest potential without being hindered by comparisons with others. The ninth and final toxic habit is the tendency for revenge and prolonged resentment. When we are wronged, it is natural to feel hurt and angry. However, the Stoics taught that holding on to these negative emotions and seeking revenge only harms us in the long run. Imagine drinking poison and expecting the other person to suffer. This is what holding on to resentment feels like. It poisons our own minds and hearts, preventing us from finding peace. The Stoics believed that true strength lies in forgiveness and moving forward. Consider the wise counsel of Marcus Aurelius: the best revenge is not to be like your enemy. By letting go of the desire for revenge and choosing to act with integrity and compassion, we free ourselves from the chains of resentment and reclaim our inner peace. I hope this journey through Stoic principles inspires you to reflect and perhaps transform how you interact with the world. Remember, it's not about suppressing our emotions or denying our experiences, but about choosing how we respond to them. As Marcus Aurelius pointed out, our reaction defines our path to happiness and wisdom. Share this video with those who, like you, seek meaningful change in their lives. Stay until the end, share your reflections, and join a community of thinkers who, like the Stoics, value tranquility over tumult and depth over superficiality. As we progress, remember that each step taken with awareness and each habit modified in the pursuit of virtue not only transforms us individually but collectively elevates us towards a more conscious and harmonious society. Thank you for joining me on this journey of discovery and growth. Let's continue exploring and applying the lessons of the great Stoic masters, building a legacy of strength and serenity. If you've made it to the end of this video, you are a dedicated person committed to learning and personal growth. The fact that you've reached this point demonstrates your determination to absorb knowledge and apply it in your life. Keep seeking knowledge and striving to become the best version of yourself. Comment "I am a new version" to let us know you made it here. See you in the next video.